I'd like to call to order the August 11th meeting of the Shelby Township Planning Commission. I'll ask the secretary to call the roll, please.
Mr. Deschaux.
Here.
Mr. Long.
Here.
Ms. Baker.
Here.
Ms. Casali.
Here.
Mr. Turner is absent this evening. Mr. Apone.
Here.
Mr. Loray.
Here.
Chairman Moffett, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you. First item is approve of the agenda.
So move.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item is approve of the minutes from the July 28th meeting.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
motion
Aye.
carries. I guess three substantive issues this evening. The first being site plan number 25-24, Curtis Ritchie for J&B Alarm. Is the petitioner here?
Chairman, they can't hear you back there, they said.
Okay, the first item is site plan number 25-24, Curtis Ritchie, A&B Alarm. And anyone who speaks this evening needs to state their name and address, and when they're done speaking, sign on a table that's to the right of the podium.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Planning Commission. I'm Ron Chiesa, the architect for the project. We basically have an existing business in the community that is looking to provide an addition onto their existing building. It's a small site, zone C1, north of 23 Mile on Van Dyke. It's a 80 by 223 lot, so fairly small. So we're looking to take down an existing 455 square foot addition that houses parts and equipment for their business and provide a new 1,147 square foot addition starting from scratch, meeting the same type of characteristics of the building. Currently it's brick and block. We would be tying in with block. It would be painted block just to match the existing. We're changing nothing regarding how the site functions. Our paved area is being replaced by a roof area where we've increased that. So any of our hardscape areas remains the same. Nothing changes regarding that. In addition to the building addition, we would be proposing to put a dumpster enclosure in to update that versus having a freestanding dumpster just sitting out. So that would be put in, and then we would also be adding 3 trees around that dumpster area just to meet your requirements regarding parking lot trees, as well as just to provide some additional green area amenities. So parking is currently, there's 19 spaces there, 18 are required. We will maintain the 19 parking spaces with this project. It's just shifting some parking around. So with that being said, I'll just answer any questions. Pretty simple project. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at the site. And like I said, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. To the planning department for their comments.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. As Mr. Chiesa said, this is for an addition to an existing property. They're going to take down a area they're using for storage now that kind of doesn't match the design of the structure. So what they're going to be doing with the new addition, it'll be more consistent with the design of the current building on the property. Now with that, there are some things on the site plan that we'd like to see kind of brought up to the current standards. You know, we do realize this is an older property. It was built in 1974, according to township records, and it's hard for us to make it completely conforming to our current standards and regulations. But we do like to make it as legally conforming as possible as we can. And one of the ways to do that is to bring the landscaping up to par, and to also get a variance for any additions that encroach on your setbacks. So the first thing would be that the building is proposed at a 0 lot line. The setback is 20 feet for that side yard there. So even though you're putting an addition onto an existing building that's at 0 feet from the lot line, you'll still need a variance to further encroach upon that side yard setback. Additionally, the use of bumper blocks you have on the site plan, those are not allowed in the township. So we'll have to remove those from the site plan. And the township engineer has required a 6-inch curb be added to the perimeter of the parking lot. So if you're able to do that, that should really remove the need for the bumper blocks there. The last thing I want to talk about, that was the landscaping, kind of how we kind of make properties consistent, cohesive with the surrounding developments, even if they are a little bit older, have some different features to them. For the landscaping, you're required to do 2 street trees there. Now you have one in the landscaping feature in front of the building, so maybe adding one more along the street frontage there would satisfy that requirement. You had the parking lot trees met with those 3 by the dumpster. That's good. We'd like to see the dumpsters enclosed as well. Now, I do want to bring up the screening from your property and the property to the west, that residential property. Currently, we have what's called moderate screening that's required there. You have a 15-foot wide green belt, which you more than meet with your green space and your septic field back there. But we also have tree plantings and shrub plantings that are required. We require 2 trees for every 20 feet of frontage along those 2 properties, and then 3 shrubs for every 20 feet. So that's something that we would want to see there too, added to the site plan to make the landscaping consistent with the surrounding properties. Beyond that, the rest of my comments can be addressed by simply modifying the site plan.
Okay, thank you. To the board, are there any questions for the petitioner? Seeing none. No issues with the report from planning?
Going to be difficult to meet some of the requirements. I guess my biggest concern would be to remove the bumper blocks and add a concrete curb there. The bumper blocks, if they're pinned, they're typically 2 feet away from the building. A 6-inch curb really isn't going to do much to protect the building. Then that curb really needs to be 2 feet deep. So I think we could meet the other landscape issues, but I think the removal of the bumper blocks is going to be difficult. I really do, just for the fact of the safety factor of the building, putting in that concrete curb.
Yes, so the ordinance does have a allowance for the planning commission to approve bumper blocks, wherever it's demonstrated as a need by the applicant. Now, I would say too that the township does require that all of our stalls be 18 feet deep. So even if the planning commission does allow, excuse me, the use of the bumper blocks to exist there or to continue being used there, you would still have to provide that 18 feet. We don't allow overhangs beyond that or a reduction in the parking stall depth if there's bumper blocks and not a curbed landscaped area.
Is that really how that reads?
Yes. I can read it for you. Give me just a second.
Because obviously your ordinance allows 16-foot spaces if you've got a 7-foot sidewalk which allows a 2-foot overhang. So the bumper blocks are basically providing that 2-foot overhang to protect the car from hitting the building.
Yep, so I can give you both ordinance sections right here. So the first one is section 5.21C.16, and that's the bumper blocks. Use of bumper blocks is prohibited except in circumstances as is determined by the Planning Commission where the site or development characteristics necessitate their use. So that's from the zoning ordinance. And as far as the overhang goes, parking stalls must be a minimum of 18 feet in depth. The depth may only be reduced when the front end parking abuts a curbed landscape area at least 5 feet in width or a raised sidewalk at least 7 feet in width, which with a raised curb a maximum height of 4 inches. And that's from zoning ordinance 5.21.C.2.B.
Okay, I guess I'd kind of beg to differ with how the ordinance is written. That I think that we still have 18-foot deep spaces, and typically cars, their wheels are back. But we'll see what we can do to comply with those dimensions. I'm not sure we have that on the site again. The building is 30 feet deep. We've only got 50 feet. So we'll see if we can comply with that, as long as we can get the bumper blocks approved by this commission.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Luray.
No.
Oh, Mr. Pone?
Oh, do you have a question?
I have a question. Could you install the curb where the bumper blocks are currently?
Putting a curb in at this point in time would be difficult. So, typically when you put a curb in, you have a face curb, you've got to excavate down, you're getting into some cost that really were not something that was forecast for this project. So I'd really not like to do that. It also, the parking lot, the bumper blocks are consistent across the front area where we've got green area. Then we also have bumper blocks currently at the building. So obviously if this addition didn't take place, the bumper blocks would be perfectly timed through infinity. So I'm hoping I can get a little bit of relief.
It's a non-conforming use too, so there were things that, was built, before probably some of these, and now that you're coming back forward, that now is the time that we clean up, issues that are no longer in compliance. Okay, any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve site plan number 25-24 Curtis Ritchie, A&B Alarm 52245 Van Dyke Avenue, parcel number 23-07-16-276-019, located south of 24 Mile Road on the west side of Van Dyke Avenue. Equipment Room Building Addition, approval and subject to submission to revised site plan addressing all department and site plan reviews.
Is there support?
Support.
Support by Baker, moved by Apone. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, Commissioner Apone?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Deschamps?
Yes.
Commissioner Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Casale?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner LeRae?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Next item is site plan, special land use 2503, Yanyar Abro for Shelby Car Wash LLC. This is a public hearing. I'll ask the secretary to read the notices published.
Charter Township of Shelby, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Planning Commission for the Charter Township of Shelby, Macomb County, Michigan, has received a request for approval of a site plan special land use. Applicant, Jonyar Abro, Shelby Car Wash LLC, 164 East Maple Road, Suite E, Troy, Michigan, 48083. Proposed use, gas station and convenience store. Location 54100 Van Dyke Avenue, located north of 24 Mile Road on the east side of Van Dyke Avenue. Site plan number SLU 25-03. Sidwell number 23-07-10-152-001. Legal description is as follows. The Planning Commission will meet on Monday, August 11th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the Shelby Township Municipal Building, Boardroom, 52700 Van Dyke Avenue, Shelby Township, Michigan, 48316, 586-726-7243, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the site plan special land use request. The applicant for the site plan special land use may be examined at the Planning and Zoning Department in the municipal building Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Written comments may be submitted to the Planning Commission at the above address prior to the hearing. Oral comments will be heard during the public hearing. This notice is provided pursuant to the requirements of Michigan Public Act 110 of 2006, as amended. Shelby Township Planning Commission, Jerome Moffitt, Chair, Raquel Moore, Secretary. This was published in the Shelby Utica News on July 23rd, 2025. 113 property owners and 2 applicants were notified by first-class mail on July 22nd, 2025.
Great, thank you. To the attorney, did the publication meet all legal requirements?
Yes.
Okay. And then can you explain the uses under the present zoning and if the special land use request is appropriate to this district?
Yes. The property is zone C2, which is the linear retail business district. In the C2 district, that contains the uses that are commercial businesses that accommodate the local needs of the township. In the C2 district, under special land uses, there is a gasoline service station that can be obtained pursuant to the zoning ordinance and the special land use standards, so the request is appropriate.
Great, thank you. So the format and sort of the purpose of what we're going to do this evening is ultimately we're going to make a recommendation to the township board. Township board will then act on our recommendation. The petitioner will come up, state their reasons, what they're requesting is their reason for it. I'll let the commissioners ask any questions that they may have. I'll then open up to the public. Anyone who wishes to express their opinion about it or have any questions on what they're proposing, address that to the board. I'll gather that information, and then I'll bring the petitioner back up to address those issues. Part of this somewhat is fact-finding. We're going to take sort of both sides of what's requested. We're going to consider that based on also in the context of the township's ordinances and master plan before we then make our recommendation. Anyone who speaks this evening needs to give their name and address and then sign in on the podium that's to the right of the mic. At this point, I assume you're representing the petitioner. Name and address, please.
Odette Georges, 8155 Ansbury Drive.
Okay, seeing I can't hear you, I'm sure they can't hear
Oh,
you. And they're
hello.
going to yell at me, so they've already started.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
There you go.
Okay. Odette Georges, 8155 Ansbury Drive, and I'm representing our client. I'm the
You're going to have
architect.
to make sure you get closer
Okay.
there.
I'll
Pull that-
stay as
pull
close as
that-
I can. Okay. So, okay, I guess we have our presentation here. Okay. So as you mentioned, we're seeking special land use for a gas station and a convenience store. So when our client came to us, originally he was thinking to do a laundromat, which would be within our current usage and zone. But I think that given that the adjacent site has a auto wash, a car wash that's currently a successful precedent of an automotive amenity, we think that it's actually most appropriate to add a gas station as well as a convenience store. And, given that we are the neighbors of the adjacent site, and given that there is not much gas stations and convenience stores on the northbound, for like about 2 miles until you get to 25 Mile, there's not much amenities there. We think that it's actually, it would be a beneficial amenity for the local residents. And then, so we're proposing a main entrance through Van Dyke, and then we will do a shared entrance through Ansbury. So the shared entrance through Ansbury will be shared with the Ace Auto Wash. And then, I guess you can go to so these are the elevations that we have, and it would be a walkable distance for the local residents, local offices, as well as easy access from Ansbury. And we don't think that it would be a problem in terms of traffic because we're just capitalizing on existing traffic. And especially since it is on northbound, it would be more for people that are coming back from work. Really meant to be more of a local amenity. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. And it would be a great synergy with the Ace Auto Wash. And, our clients set a great precedent for, being very neighborly friendly in terms of, Ottawa when it comes to automotive amenities. So, and then we have over here our proposed retail store floor plan, which is about 3,500 square feet. And it features a deli counter, coffee counter, refrigerated food items. So really the gas station is sort of like, kind of like a bonus amenity. The convenience store is really just kind of, I guess like our selling point because it would just be convenient to have a walkable, just the locality of it, given that there's not much walkable grocery stores nearby and things like that. So we think that would be a great amenity for the local context. And also it fits within the density and the usage of the site. So yeah, we could also propose a laundromat as well, but given the automotive amenity and that sort of thing that I mentioned. So yeah, I guess that's it. Would you like to add anything else? No? Okay.
Okay. There's a convenience store right across the street from, right?
I'm sorry?
Have you visited the site? Isn't there a convenience store
Oh.
right across the street off Fansbury, like right on the other corner?
No, it's actually a liquor store. So I work there, and there's literally nothing walkable in that area. I would love to have something like this, but
But I think
the liquor store is nothing like what we're proposing.
There's a 7-Eleven down the street. And there's I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Yeah. You all have, shh. I think I explained this. They get to talk. We get to talk. And then you guys can come up and talk as much as one shot at it, but, as much as you want that one shot. So, okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, I guess I would beg to question that whatever convenience store you would offer, I don't know what you have in, is markedly different than that convenience store because they sell more than liquor. And they sell, probably most of the things that would. So, I'm just that argument. How about I look at this and I know the planner's going to get into more detail about it, but just sort of the safety of there's the curb cut, there's the cut to go into the auto wash,
Right.
Not even 100 feet later, there's going to be the cut into the gas station, and not even 100 feet beyond that onto Ansbury. So you've got three right a row, and there's not like a right-hand turn lane that you can pull over and like pull into those things. It's somewhat of a safety issue. And it does seem like that site is pretty crammed. That you know, I don't know how many cars you can turn in off of Van Dyke before, you know, the cars start backing up, you know, to get gas. So I mean, I have a real hard time with this one, to be honest with you. You know, because typically with a special land use, there are circumstances that require that you know, we should look beyond what the ordinance and what the master plan designed it for.
Right.
I don't know that this really, you know, fits that, but, you know, I'm just one small little voice in a sea of sharks up here. So anyone else on the board wish to have any questions or comments?
Mr.
Mr.
Chair?
Baker.
Hi. I have you too. Well, I know the Macomb County Department of Roads declined the entrance on Van Dyke. So where does, I guess my question is, who owns the ACE? Is it the same owner? And where are the entrance? Because there's a bus stop right on Ansbury. So that would be a huge concern for me with all those families that those kids are walking to that bus stop right at their proposed entrance. It just does not seem like it does not seem ideal. And she's talking about the you know, Mr. Ambrose being honorable. There's a number of delinquent taxes, violations, enforcements, unresolved enforcements that are unpaid. So I don't know that I agree with him being withstanding on making this a property, especially in a unsuitable, I guess, position, I guess, for what the surrounding community is.
Okay. Yeah, into the sort of another, you know, safety thing that had popped in my head. I use the car wash often. My wife uses it much more than I do. But, you know, the business, when you pull out of the auto wash, you've got the two people drying your cars down, and you go right up to Van Dyke, you know, and it's a pretty steady stream of it. Also, the concern is that it's not good. That, you know, is going to another thing that's going to impede, especially with those driveways so close to one another. You know, the clear line vision for that person turning onto Van Dyke from the gas station. If they're looking left, you know, there are a couple of cars getting wiped down very close to them. I mean, that's just another issue. Anyone else wish to comment?
Chairman, young lady, you said that this site is appropriate for a gas station. Why do you think it's appropriate to have a service station on this 0.7 acre lot?
Well, yeah, like I mentioned, because there's already a good precedent
Little
for
closer to the mic, please. Yeah.
Oh, like I mentioned, because there's already a good precedent for an automotive amenity there, I think it would be a good synergy there. Because, you know, if you're washing your car, you might want to fill up gas. So it's not necessarily that we're bringing like extra traffic. It's just kind of capitalizing on existing traffic. And I know that you had mentioned, you know, with the entrance could be a little cramped. Well, the entrance for the Ace Wash is already existing there, you know what I mean? And then also for Van Dyke, whatever gets developed there, we're going to have an entrance for whatever it is, whether it's a laundromat or a gas station or whatever it is. And I know that there is a ton of gas stations in Shelby, yes, but is there any on northbound? And is there any for that local, for the local residents? I think no. I mean, being literally the neighboring adjacent site, I think that this is something I personally would like to have there, but I mean, that's my opinion. Yeah.
Do you have any research to provide that this is a desirable area for a station and there is a need that this area needs a station? Whether it's car count, are there increased in homes? Do you have any research showing that, hey, this area would be great, this is the only thing that would be suitable? Because there are companies out there you can hire and
obviously
they have
not-
statistics showing that.
We could do a market research. Of course, it's never like the only thing that's right. There's never a clear-cut answer to any site development. But just given that we've been doing this for like 35 years, you know, Mitesh is a civil engineer and I'm an architect. We think, you know, after studying the site for a while, we just thought that this would be the best, most appropriate usage given the context of the site. Yeah.
Has the owner showed that he's met all the ordinance to the city and saying, hey, we've met all the ordinance and we're good to go?
What do you mean by?
Has he reviewed all the ordinance saying this will be good fit for it? Because
Well, yeah, of course, every development we do, we review all the ordinance, everything we do is up to city standards, and yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Chairman, I don't have any more.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna hold off and defer to the planner, because I think there are some issues with the site that would require variances, and I think the changes would also make this even more difficult to development, but I'll
Yeah.
I'll hold off and let her ask or make those points. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Thank you. You can sit down for a second. I'm sure you'll have an opportunity to come back and respond. This is the only public hearing the Planning Commission will hold on this special land use request. All remarks will be entered into the record for the Township Board's evaluation. As I mentioned before, we will recommend whether to approve this, disapprove it, or table it if there's information more information that we need. This time, anyone in the audience is welcome to come up and ask any questions, offer their opinion. Again, I need your name and your address, and again, address them to the board. I'll take down the questions and then bring the petitioner up or have the appropriate person address them.
Johnny R. Abro, 50570 Van Dyke Road, Shelby Township, Michigan. I'm actually the owner of the site, and I happen to be the neighbor of what are you submitting. Also, I own quite a few properties in Shelby, in industrial side. I own apartments on 23 Mile, and I would like you please to tell me what taxes has not been paid, what violation. This is a slattern. I got your name, and you're telling that I haven't paid taxes and I have a violation. I need to see a record of that.
I
Okay.
pulled it up on BSNA.
Yes, I would like to see
Ace
those.
Hardware, or the Ace Car Wash has undelinquent taxes.
I would like to see that, and I would like to challenge that, yes. Okay? Because all my taxes are with my mortgage.
Okay, and your
Okay.
property on Rezo, there's enforcements on there that have.
And
not
that's been taken care of with those two containers. So please, when you state something, make sure your facts are right. Okay? So back to the site. I own the site for about 8 years right now. The vacant lot has been sitting there for quite some time. We were trying to develop it, and we had a couple of options. We come from background of car washes, laundromats, apartments, and we figured, what can we put here? We looked at it to put oil change / laundromat, which is, we don't, this is what the zoning call for, but we figured if we put a car wash, it will be more suited, a gas station will be more suited to the car wash next to it. Now, I know there was some things about traffic and what have you, but the exit being on the side, I don't think it would matter so much. And also, I think is that if you go from 24,
You do have an entrance on. You're proposing an entrance on Van Dyke.
this is what I'm saying. So
Okay.
we can join, and then there is that side entrance on the side street.
I mean, that's not going to alleviate the issue of having an egress onto Van Dyke.
Okay. So basically, this is a vacant lot, and if you guys are okay with it, I mean, we would love to develop it. And when we develop something nice. We don't get something that, just build anything just to make money. We build something that with the standards. And we've been with the city. Yes, there is violation, but must assure any violation from the city get corrected. Okay? There is nothing that there is something need to be done. No, there's something need to be done. We do it, and we make sure we do it. So, as far as how we operate business, I take it personally. So that's all I can say.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening, Chairman and Board. My name is Angelo Georges. I am located at 51158 Clear Spring Lane. How are we today? Doing good. I'm opposed to the site plan just because my family and I have a gas station over on 23 in Van Dyke. We provide fresh food, variety of convenience options, and we thankfully just got liquor. I'm 22 years old. Unfortunately, my dad passed away in 2017. I rely on the store to provide for my family, take care of everybody. I took that role on at a young age, and I was robbed of my childhood, unfortunately. I really do rely on this gas station to take care of my family, and I thank God every day that I was given this opportunity and I was able to work hard and work through the cards I was dealt. Another reason I do agree with the traffic situation. It just doesn't make sense how cars are going to pull into a secondary entrance and then pull out of an exit that's onto a main street leading to other homes. That's my take on it.
Okay.
I appreciate you guys for allowing me to come up and speak.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
You can
you.
sign in now, please. Yeah. No, I need you to sign in. Oh, you did sign in. Okay, thanks.
Good evening. My name is Dave Giancola. I live at 8337 Pine Creek. I'm the president of the Pine Creek Homeowners Association, which is just south of the site. The association is opposed to this going in. We feel that 6 gas stations within 3-mile radius along the Van Dyke corridor is enough, along with having Phoenix, who has supplied the neighborhood for years. It would be a detriment, I think, to their well-being as well, and allowing another convenience store to go right across the street from them. So I don't think it would be a good idea for the area and for our neighborhood as well to do that. And I just thank you all for what you're doing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello. I might just be, in that age of my life where it's harder to hear, so I apologize for speaking up. I can't hear you guys. Thank you for allowing us to speak. My name's Sheila Piesco. I live at 8191 North Ansbury Circle, which is directly down the street that this piece of property abuts, all right? The proposed gas station, we're very opposed to it. It is already a challenge. That's a narrow street. It directly abuts a residential neighborhood, and that is our single point of access, all right? If we have another point of access, we have to go all the way through rather narrow, mature streets, let's put it that way, that go curving around, end up going past an elementary school and on 24, right across from the park. Those are 2 ways to get in and out. We don't need additional traffic. I don't know, I didn't submit this online. If anyone would like a copy of my notes, I'm happy to share them. There are already, and I'm sure there's more, but I did a 3-mile radius, and there's already over 12 gas stations. There's plenty of convenience and stores, and honestly, if you look at what the public, our residents do, we use it for walking. All right, it's also a well-known already traffic risk area. I don't know if those photos were uploaded, but the Phoenix liquor store on the corner, all right, has security footage of 5 accidents in the last month is how they described it to me, all right? I suggested they upload it. All right, that's how challenging it is. We like our neighborhood. We don't need anything more adding to it, like things like benzene. The reports that architects and builders will give you about the effects of benzene and the other toxic chemicals on an environment, the old studies show 500 feet, okay? That's what the old studies show. But if you look at states that have more stringent environmental focus, if you will, the newer studies show that toxicity spreads much farther. And children and elderly are particularly vulnerable. The families in this neighborhood walk that a lot. Take a drive. See. I mean, when I drive, even though it's like a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, you can drive like 15 miles an hour because there's always people there. They don't need to be subject to that hazard. And remember that in Michigan, leaking underground storage tanks at gas stations are a major source of groundwater contamination. In fact, over 95% of those sites, all right, have caused groundwater contamination. And unfortunately, the department that manages that is underfunded and understaffed. And also, the audit department for that has inconsistencies in the frequency and thoroughness of its investigations, which leads to sort of relaxed compliance, and none of us need that. We have a beautiful place here, all right? We've been able to keep it that way. We don't need more than 16 gas stations. So the other health risks, all right, are the organic vox. Now, I can give you this information, but these fumes can travel. And it's risky to put something so close. In Michigan, siting guidelines, when it comes to gas station density and things like that, really always, and I'm sure you all know this, recommend major intersections for gas stations. You know, for traffic ease, but for also the danger of not being in proximity to neighborhoods. The increased volume, anytime there's a multi-market location, a convenience store with a gas station and a car wash, so that's called a hypermarket location. That is known to increase traffic up to 24% beyond what it already is. All right, there are studies. This was all really easy to find online. You just have to ask a really simple question like I did. And, you know, it's not me talking. It's people who have done the research. As I said before, traffic would be pushed into the surrounding neighborhoods, and it would push us be in front of an elementary school. That is not good. Michigan studies also suggest that gas stations contribute to increased crime opportunities. All right, like personal disputes, drug sales, armed robberies, and gang activity, and we don't want this in our neighborhood either. There are explosion hazards, there's pedestrian hazards, there's accidents involving, you talked about curb cutting, you know, distracted drivers. There's also economic blight. The people that run those businesses right on the other side of Ansbury, across from them, those are family businesses. And we don't need any more to begin with, but anything like that might decrease accessibility into those businesses, so decreasing their business because of the congestion at a gas station, you know, and it also could create competition that really impacts those family businesses, not just right next door. So that can create economic blight, all right, ultimately. But you need to be aware of a couple other things. If you go to the Ebro Property Management website, on the homepage is a Sheets, you know, SHEETZ logo, a big one. What is to prevent this location from being sold to them? We all know of all the disputes in other astute, you know, areas in Michigan. And we all know of all the Farmington Hills, Rochester Hills that have firmly rejected the multi-market location, all right, for good reasons. And you have to be careful too. Sheets has a way of influencing decisions because, say, in Farmington Hills, you know, this is not your full-time job. Well, you know, a lot of people, and we appreciate that you do it, given that it's not. But there was a person, a representative on the commission who, in his outside job, Sheets hired and gave him consulting fees to influence this decision. That's still pending.
Let me just interrupt you a quick second here. Last year, this body approved, actually the township approved a Sheets that's going in at 22 in Van Dyke. So I hope you're not implying that somehow anyone who approved Sheets on this board somehow received some improper inducement to approve that.
No, absolutely not. I'm so sorry if that came across that way.
So it happens there, but it doesn't happen here.
No, it's just
okay, go ahead.
their influence
No,
and that it's on the current property owner's website, that relationship is concerning to us. Because the even Sheets wrote a letter to the White House, which is online, you can find it, about the increase in crime in their stores, right? And how the local government needs to help. So I appreciate you hearing me out. I do think it's a safety risk, a traffic risk, and really not needed in our neighborhood. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to? Yeah, she signed in earlier.
Hi there. I'm just going to kind of piggyback on what my little brother said. My name's Elena Georges. I've been a resident of Shelby Township for over 18 years now, and I'm the owner of the BP gas station at 51015 Van Dyke Avenue. That's on the corner of 23 Mile and Van Dyke. I want to start by saying, pardon me for not having all of the proper terms and information to present to you all today, but what I do know is that our small business is our bread and butter. Unfortunately, we don't own apartment complexes and so on, but our family business is also held to a very high standard. There are 19 gas stations from what we counted between Hall Road and Van Dyke to 25 Mile and Van Dyke. I also want to mention that not only do we offer convenience, food, and gas, but just to add on to the other options in terms of convenience, there are many other convenience options besides us, including, which I know this nice lady has mentioned, there's a Phoenix Liquor just feet away from this proposed project. Also, as you mentioned, there was another Sheetz already approved on 22 Mile and Van Dyke, less than just a few miles away. So that was already kind of a blow to us. So we would appreciate not another one just a few miles away, which is why we're opposed to this. Also, it sounds like from a little bit of the discussion that we've heard today, it doesn't seem like a very safe option in terms of traffic. I think you said there was a bus stop, crime and whatnot has mentioned. But overall, I think I don't know all of the details and, you know, kind of what exactly this cracks down to, but I'm just here as a representative of my family and our bread and butter, and I hope that you guys hear us out today and, you know, kind of have a little mercy on us. I hope you guys all have a great night. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
Please sign in.
She signed in earlier, yeah.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Antonio Abro, and my address is 1372 Clear Creek Drive. I'd just like to come here and make a small comment that everybody's been talking about throughout this whole meeting. Everybody's concerned about traffic for that property. I feel like either way that property is going to get developed, either if it's gas station or a laundromat and oil change or anything like that, either way there is going to be traffic at some point, either way, if it's a laundromat or if it's a car wash. I'd also like to mention that everybody's talking about small business and this and that. The car wash owners are small business owners. They're not a corporate like Sheetz or anything like that, and they're going to be operating the gas station and not giving it to Sheetz. If it was Sheetz would be up here presenting the project in front of you guys, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You sign in?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Mary Vizhakovsky. I live at 53968 Birchwood Court, which is right off of Ansbury Drive. I got this notice, and I was really surprised. I moved into my condo December, and it's a really nice neighborhood. There's an apartment complex, my condo. I can see the back of the car wash. And I have room darkening curtains just to shield the lights that come in at night, but that's fine. I'm totally fine with it. It's a quiet business, but the traffic is phenomenal. I take Van Dyke to 23 Mile to go to Troy Beaumont every single day, and getting out and making a left onto Van Dyke to go south is ridiculous already. We add any more traffic to that with a gas station, whether the entrance is on Van Dyke or on Ansbury, it's going to be a mess. There's going to be more accidents than there are now. So I'm opposed to this, to building this, and I understand that he wants to, you know, use the property I'm sure that it would look beautiful after you got it built and everything, but that's not the point. I think it's about the traffic, the safety of the neighborhood, the safety of the kids who have buses that go down Ansbury to Chrisman Elementary. It's just not safe for the neighborhood or safe for that area. Even if there was a traffic light, it's still not going to mitigate enough of the traffic that's in that area already. So that's my opinion, and thank you for listening.
Ma'am, did you sign in? Ma'am, okay, thank you. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. She'll have an opportunity. I'll bring to answer. Yeah, it's a process. Don't worry. I'll ask the planner for her comments.
Thank you, Chairman. So, few issues with this site. Section 4.28 of the zoning ordinance needs to be met in addition to this special land use standards. The item number B under section 4.28, the site for the gasoline self-service station shall have 150 feet of frontage on a principal street serving the station. They are short 3 feet. So along with this standards, with the site plan comments, this also comes into play. So the frontage along Van Dyke is 147 feet, so they do not meet that standard. In addition to that, Section E of this section also indicates that there must be sufficient on-site storage to accommodate at least 2 queued vehicles for each lane of fueling stations. While the two, if you want to bring up part of their proposal on the, if you want to pull it up, you can see what I'm talking about is you have the interior fueling stations have the 2 queued vehicles, but the 2 outside fueling stations would not have that, the ability. So as somebody pulls in, you have the, if you can see, you have the 2 vehicles would be queued to pull up, but the outside fueling stations would not have that ability. Therefore, that would cause a problem, people pulling in and out of the site. Also, there is on the south side of the canopy, there's an unloading and loading and unloading area, and from that unloading and loading area, there's only 12 feet to the property line. So there would not be an ability, if there's a tanker there filling pumps up, there would not be an ability for people to drive around that site. That would only make it a one-way lane. So you would not be able to have 2 vehicles pass on the south portion of that site. On the Ansbury side, there is the parking lot must start 10 feet from the public right-of-way. It is proposed at 8 feet. I mean, I can go through all the comments. Again, driveways shall be designed to accommodate all vehicle types having an occasion to enter and exit the site appropriately. There's the banked parking spaces that are on the north side of the building as well, that once they're pulling out into the point of egress and ingress. The canopy does not meet the full ordinance requirements. The posts must be made of similar materials, no steel. They must be covered in similar materials as the building, and I believe that they just have brick or stone on portion of that stanchions. Another issue is the special land use standards. As Ms. Georges indicated, there was nothing in the area that would meet the service needs of the township, when in fact we've heard from everybody else there's a number of stations, one within a half a mile away, and a significant amount of convenience stores immediately within half a mile of this site. We have at 25 Mile Road, we have 7-Eleven gas station, and just south we have a CVS at 24 Mile as well. So with that being said, the next thing would be the master plan conformities. So with the master plan, this is designated as an O1 to an O2 use, which is of a professional office. Right now, the site is zoned C2, and there's no reason why it cannot be developed as a C2 zoning district. There's plenty of uses available in that C2 zoning district without having to grant special land use approval. So those are basically my comments. Like I said, once we start manipulating and changing the site, reducing, increasing that setback for the parking lot, that's going to change the whole configuration of the parking lot. So I feel like it's probably overbuilt for that site, clearly, because you don't have the circulation ability as a gas station would normally have. And this is a high-traffic area. The hours of operation were also not indicated on this. It could be a 24-hour operation. We don't have any hours of operation limits in a C2 zoning district, so, that was not addressed either. Let me see here. The brick requirements for the building, our ordinance calls for brick on all sides facing a major road. Well, there are different types of materials along the front. There's different fascia boards, not completely all brick, but that would be something that the Planning Commission would allow or not. Let's see what else. The other item is, as the residents also explained, this is, Ansbury is a local road to carry local traffic. I believe this use is a high-intense use where it belongs more on a major corridor with both sides of the streets being on a major corridor rather than a local carrying street to a residential district. That's all I have. Thank you,
Okay,
Chairman.
Thank you. To your point about the right of way off of Ansbury, you move those parking spots 2 feet farther south. Does that effectively make that the entrance egress onto Ansbury like a 1-lane road? I mean, could you get to? I mean, I don't know if you could get to.
Right, you couldn't, because that's going to reduce the drive aisle from 24 feet down to 22 feet, so then that's not in compliance with our ordinance.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The petitioner, if the petitioner wants to come up and answer some of the issues that were raised.
Yeah.
Some of the points on the underground storage and the benzene and other environmental issues. Frankly, it's not so much this body, but there are bodies that regulate that, and they don't get approved. And as I understand, a lot of the underground container issues were old sites that now to build a new site, they have to be in compliance, and they're much more rigid. Not to say that those aren't valid points to you, but frankly I don't think entirely germane to kind of the decision we're making now. I like to say render under Caesar that is Caesar's. So there's a higher authority that would to make sure if this were to be built, that it were to be built correctly. So given the setback, issues, I mean, already, and I think I addressed it in my earlier comments, it's almost like this is over. It's too much, onto this site. Especially, I think the gentleman asked, commented, there'll be something there. That's true. But there's a reason we have different kinds of zoning, because they anticipate different kinds of demands on a piece of property. A gas station, convenience store has a much higher volume of traffic coming in and out, as compared to like a laundromat or an oil change or an office or a medical facility. It's a much slower and a much lower demand, on the infrastructure, on the roads in that system. Most of these, why don't you go ahead and comment on what you heard, because I don't know if there were any necessary specific comments that hadn't been raised. I mean, traffic is an issue.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to thank Ms. Georges and Mr. Georges for sharing your story.
To the board.
To the board. Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Rest in peace, your father. I think that in terms of, business, I think that it's kind of, you kind of have to play fair. You can't, it's sort of a conflict of interest. I mean, people that are going southbound, they will still use I believe it's the BP gas station that's on 23 Mile on the east side. So I think that.
Well, they use the Marathon between Kitty Corner from here.
Right, or the Marathon. But because we are on northbound, we're not really attracting that sort of southbound traffic that's going towards Detroit to work and things like that. We're kind of attracting the people that are coming home back from work, the local residents, including myself, and it's really more of a local kind of a proposal. And
no, you had your opportunity. Go ahead.
Yeah, in terms of the locality, I think we always, in urban planning and, site developments, we always talk about, creating the right appropriate amount of density and the appropriate amount of, addressing the context appropriately. And in terms of addressing this context being that it's already, an automotive kind of amenity there, I think it's a great synergy there. And then also being that it's a convenience store. I mean, people talk about a convenience store, yes, being half a mile away. That's not walkable distance for local residents, in terms of the local offices, the apartments. Yeah, we didn't hear a lot of.
But why don't we let's just kind of address the issues that
Right.
were raised, because we heard you. on
Right.
your
Okay. So in
presentation,
terms of the comments that were mentioned, in terms of the 3-foot short of the frontage, and then materials of the posts. These are all things that, as architects and civil engineers, we would love to work with you guys in, addressing the appropriate
So
solutions.
what do you do with the driveway what do you do with that that access, the road out to Ansbury, if you've got to move those parking spots 2 feet closer? How is that viable, safe for people to access?
Right. I mean, we can't give like an answer on the spot like that. We always have to study the site properly and then address the proper plan and the proper solution. But I mean, that driveway already exists. So in terms of, on the Ansbury, we're not.
I'm talking about is you presented a site plan, okay,
Right.
that doesn't comply with setbacks. If it complies with setbacks, it creates the flow of this project very, very challenging, and that's putting it kindly. I don't know that you could do it that way, okay? And so, I mean, we're acting what you knew the ordinance, you reviewed the ordinances before you brought this to us.
Right.
And now it's a plan that I don't know, I don't know how you would adjust, unless you shrink the building out, you shrink the building, probably the footprint of that building both ways. One, so the stacking issue, which is a major issue, and then the parking, shrinking those parking spots. I mean, I don't know how so you'd have to shrink that building so you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely
that
address.
seems, okay.
Yeah. We could address these if we have the appropriate amount of time. Again, I can't come up with a site plan like that on the spot.
That's fair.
But
Okay.
if we had known these comments ahead of time, we always work with the city to address come up with the appropriate solution. We need time to do that.
You made the point earlier that you reviewed the ordinance and this met all the ordinances, and that just wasn't the case.
Yeah, met the ordinance as far as.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you wish to add?
I mean, just speaking as not as the architect for this development, just as the neighbor, if we are going to have a development between a laundromat, which is going to attract traffic at all times of day, if people want to come and do their laundry, that's going to attract traffic at any time of day, right? But if it's like just a gas station on northbound, it's going to attract a certain amount of traffic at a certain amount of time. And then also you have the locality, the convenience store. And yes, we've heard concerns from some local residents, in terms of traffic, but of course the people that are in favor of this are not going to probably be here,
Okay.
So,
all right.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our basis for the motion must be based on the following: compatibility with adjacent land uses, consistent with and promote the intent and purpose of the special land use, compatibility with the natural environment, consistent with the capacities of public services and facilities affected by the proposed use, protect the public health, safety, and welfare, and the adequacy of public access to the site. At this time, we may recommend approval. We can disapprove this request, or we can table it to evaluate the information further. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lurie.
I'd like to recommend denial to the Township Board of Trustees for site plan special land use 2503, Shelby Car Wash LLC, 54100 Van Dyke Avenue, parcel number 230710152001, located south of 23 Mile Road on the east side of Van Dyke Avenue, proposed gas station and convenience store. The applicant has not adequately demonstrated or met with the standards in the zoning ordinance, including but not limited to Section 6.5 Special Land Use Standards and Section 4.28 gasoline self-service stations for the following reasons. The applicant has not shown that the proposed use would not adversely impact the surrounding neighborhoods and be in harmony with the appropriate and ordinary development of the surrounding neighborhoods and the applicant regulations of the zoning districts in which it is to be located. Number 2, the applicant has not shown the proposed use of the nature that will not make vehicle and pedestrian traffic no more hazardous than it is normal for the district involved. Number 3, the applicant has not demonstrated that the parcel cannot be developed as zoned. Number 4, the proposed use may adversely impact the spirit of the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents, and or will interfere with the discourage the appropriate development and use of the applicant land and buildings, or unreasonably affect their value. Number 5, the applicant has not shown the proposed use is designed such that it will not be a nuisance to the occupants of other nearby use permitted. Number 6, the proposed use may not relate harmlessly with the physical and economic aspects of adjacent land use. Number 7, the applicant has not shown the proposed use will not cause substantial injury to the value of other properties in the neighborhood in which it will be located, and that it will not be detrimental to the existing and or permitted land use in the zoning district. Number 8, the proposed development is not consistent with the recommendations in the 2017 master plan. The 2017 master plan designates this area as a service corridor which emphasizes office use with neighborhood sensitivity. A fueling station does not align with that vision. And number 9, the proposed use will increase turning movements and pose potential hazardous for vehicles and pedestrians due to the proposal of an additional driveway along a major corridor.
Support.
Moved by Larray, support by Apone. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner Larray?
Yes.
Commissioner Apone?
Yes.
Commissioner Deschamps?
Yes.
Commissioner Long?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Casale?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The recommendation to the Township Board will be to deny the request. Next item is Planning Director's report.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. Every year, as part of the annual budget annual budget process, the Planning Commission is to present to the Township Board a capital improvement plan. This includes all the projects from 2026 to 2032. The draft plan is in front of you, and those are all identified within short-term, near-term, and long-term projects. If you have any questions regarding any of the projects, I'd be happy to address them.
Okay, thank you.
If the Planning Commission recommends approval, we will take it to the Township Board at their next meeting.
Okay, any questions on the draft capital improvement plan? So you need a motion to recommend approval?
Yes, please.
I will take that motion. Does anyone want to make that motion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner
I
Moore.
move to recommend approval of the capital improvements plan from 2026 to 2032.
Is there support? Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We do have business from the floor if someone wants to say something else. No? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.